Hey, I am here today to talk about how to know when your passionate employee has gone quiet, because this is something that you as a boss and as a leader in your company need to truly understand if you want to stop turnover. And I wanted to share with you this quote by actually Tim McClure, and he says that the biggest concern for any organization should be when their most passionate people become quiet. Hey, I'm Dr. Heather Williamson with the Transformation Group, and welcome back to the channel. So if you want to get more videos like this where I share leadership tips and strategies, then subscribe to this channel so you do not miss out on any of my weekly tips. All right, so let's get started. I have this topic. Tim's comment really struck a chord with me because I remember when I was working for university, when I was going through grad school, they ended up hiring me full-time to work for them. And I remember when I started, I was motivated. I was loving the university setting and just, the vibe of it. And I was happy. I was sharing, my ideas and my opinions on things. I was asking for feedback when I was doing stuff. And I really went the extra mile. And that included helping others on my team. It was really, I am a person who goes 110%, and I felt like, this was going to be really a fun job because I'd never worked in a university before. So anyway, things were going smooth, and then all of a sudden my boss changed. And I didn't really catch on it at first. It was the subtle things that he did, but it eventually got very obvious. He would pin employees against each other. He stopped valuing the contributions that I made or the expertise that I might have in an idea or just my skill sets. He just totally, didn't accept it or didn't even ask for any of my insight. And this just started, and I started seeing things, and it really struck a chord with me, and that the environment that I was really happy working in, all of a sudden I was miserable. I hated it. And so I wanted to share with you 3 signs that you can start looking for when you think that your employee's passion or their motivation, their drive is starting to disappear, because this is really important. You need to catch it long before you really becomes obvious. So always be on the lookout. And so the 3 signs are this. The first is I was very disengaged. I became very disengaged. And so disengagement is something that you really want to look for. So if you've got an employee who used to be highly engaged, always there to contribute, always there to step in when a hand was needed, and all of a sudden they're not, this is something that you really have to look at. And for me, disengagement was I started to do the minimum of what was needed. I was not putting forth any extra effort. I'm thinking in my head, why should I? You don't value what I already have contributed in the past, or what I can bring to the table now. So my level of effort went actually way down. Also, I started requesting, because of the job that I had, part of it was government funded and the other one was university funded. And there's a specific ratio of time that had to be part of that contract. And I started saying no to things that my boss was asking me because it didn't meet the requirement of that federal contract. And before I would say, yeah, I'll do it. And now I'm like, no, I'm no longer going to be doing things that are outside of my job role and the job in my job description. I just started saying no. And then I started asking for those extra tasks that were put on me that I really didn't get paid for. I started to ask for them to be removed and be given to somebody else on the team that didn't have that requirement that I had as running a grant that I did. And so, these disengagement behaviors, they are huge signs. And I'm sharing these because these are the things that I did, and if I'm doing them, I know others are doing them as well. And so another thing to look out for is to I kept my head under the radar, which meant that for me, I just, I no longer went to my boss's office. If we had to communicate, it was by email or by phone. I no longer stopped in. I didn't want him seeing me, and I certainly as heck didn't want to see him. So I did that, and then I also started looking for other jobs when, because I had my foot, half my foot, one of my feet was out the door. So looking for other job opportunities, because now I am totally disengaged and I'm trying to stay under the radar just long enough before I can hand in my resignation. And then the third thing to look out for is the reluctance to cooperate. And so for me, I was very much a team player. If anybody needed help, I was right in there chipping in. Well, that stopped, and I was no longer willing for me to put forth that extra effort to help others when needed. And so I stopped doing that. I would also question why tasks were given to me, because I would not see the value in it. So I'm like, why are you giving this to me? It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not in my job description. So I would no longer cooperate with that either. And then bottom line is I was very unhappy. Very unhappy. And, it's really sad when you have got an employee who is passionate about their job, who is motivated, and then all of a sudden, because of the culture or the lack of leadership in a boss, these things happen. And so I'm sharing this again because I want you to be aware of that, so you do not miss out on any of these behavioral cues. So just to recap real quick, 3 things to look out for when you see the passion leaving your employees when they used to be very passionate and motivated is to first look for where they are becoming disengaged. Second is look for where they are keeping their head under the radar and not being seen. And then the third is their reluctance to cooperate. So these are 3 big things to be on the lookout. And I want you to really focus on this because keeping employees happy should be one of your top priorities as a leader. Because if you're not, if you don't recognize this, it's really sad because your employees' happiness is critical to the success of your business. And also be on the lookout for signs where your employee has also, lost that spark. Because when they become dissatisfied, this is when they are going to have their one foot out the door, and turnover is going to be a huge issue. And we're seeing that these days with the Great Resignation. However, it can be changed, but you have to be aware of it first. So hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, please like the button below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my weekly leadership tips and strategies videos. And last but not least, go out and be that boss that your employees want to work for. So until next time, share this video if anybody else is having the same challenges, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.